Yeah, the case wasn't. I feel like there just wasn't a big chunk of the case to write about.
Yeah.
It was pretty dry.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, let me pull it up. All right. Tyler, where are you at?
I'm at a Mexican restaurant right now, but luckily they have Wi-Fi.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we're good right now, Hunter. We're live.
Yeah, we're going.
All right, sounds good. I will start the word of prayer real quick. Offering that.
Not a problem.
Perfect.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this opportunity to meet together as a group and discuss this case. Father, please help us to have a productive conversation and learn things from each other to better prepare ourselves for the future. And Father, we say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Hunter. Appreciate that. All right. We'll just get into it. So we'll do a synopsis of this. We have Thomas Green, who recently got promoted. He's now into like a more marketing senior position. With this, from going to sales and now going into a position. It's not. Is it necessarily sales? I can't remember. It's yeah.
Yeah. Find his like position before. He was just like a junior, and now he's a senior.
Yeah, so he's now promoted. It seems like he's changing departments.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 28-year-old, and he's really young within his field, and he got a huge promotion. So with that, it kind of made a huge change in the way he does things. Kind of makes him go for a jolt. And some of that from what his experience is and what his expectations are to what he's doing now, working within like the ATM industry. So with Thomas and his boss, it seems like they're not really getting along very well. He was hired by
Vice President McDonald.
Yeah, McDonald was hired, and then his boss, who is Davis. Davis wanted to have more of a say in who would be the new senior position. He wasn't too fond of Green moving up and taking that position. So from the beginning, Davis wasn't really too excited to work with Green. And they've had some issues since he's been in his new position. So it seems like there's been some conflict back and forth of not seeing eye to eye on that. So that's pretty much the case synopsis, I guess, of kind of what's going on. Is this Green being promoted to a new position, not either understanding his roles or not being explained his roles, and that conflict of his promotion of being so young and experienced in that role. And I was going to add anything on the synopsis of that. Did I miss any key information, you think?
No, it's good.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Okay. All right. So the first part is, what are the key issues in the case? What do you guys think are some of the main key issues?
Communication is a big thing. A lot of the criticisms and things that Davis has given to Green have been just straight to his higher up, to McDonald, rather than to Green himself. And then McDonald comes back to Green and says, "Hey, Davis said this about you. Fix it." Which isn't an incredibly effective way. I mean, how will Green know exactly what Davis wants if it's just kind of like a second, a middleman at giving the information?
Right.
I feel like he shouldn't have been, especially since he had never had a management position. This was like a pretty high up there management position. I mean, he jumped a couple other that he would have done before, like I said in the case, that he would have held other positions, or he would have had that position. So I think it wasn't very wise for McDonald to promote him so fast just because he was super good at sales. Because sales doesn't mean you're a good manager. Yeah. And I've seen that within my own job.
Yeah, the other part. I was just gonna say the other part of that is there was no warning. Davis wasn't given any heads up that Green was being hired. It was just kind of like, all right, well, you just lost this, or no, I think he was actually, Davis was promoted from the position that Green is now filling, right? That was
I believe
the
so.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Davis got promoted and then had ideas for people he wanted to bring up, and then McDonald said, nope, we like this kid more. We're gonna put him in the spot, deal with it. And then McDonald kind of just walked away. Anyways, it was just a very poor environment for the hiring, for the promotion rather.
Right.
It was not well done.
Yeah, with this case and the previous case there last week is like the onboarding necessarily isn't done very well. They're not training their employees that are getting promoted or getting moved in to know what their roles are. So Davis had these expectations that are kind of, from what it seems like from our point of view, was kind of unspoken until he had his review with Davis. So when Davis and Green met up for the first time after his like month or two of being there, Thomas Green saying he's kind of thrown off that these things were bothering Davis so much, and kind of threw him off. So I think like before Davis needs to show his expectations, and they would have to have bigger training for that. Obviously, going from sales to like a marketing is a huge difference. So yeah, training and communication within the whole organization seems pretty off. But with that, so we talked kind of about how Green came from a sales background now to a managerial point. One of the questions: if you were McDonald, would you have hired Thomas Green? Why or why not? What do you guys think?
I say no, because I feel like McDonald hired him because she was just impressed with him right off the bat, and I think that let her overlook some of the other things that she should have looked at first with Green. I mean, he could have been really good at that position, I feel like, if he had moved up to that position properly.
Mm-hmm.
So fast, it just shows that he was very inexperienced, and for that reason, I wouldn't have wanted to hire him for that position so fast.
Tim?
Yeah, I think hiring him on as something else. I don't know if he was already working there and then got promoted. It sounded like he. So yeah, so then, I mean, yeah, take it slower would be the suggestion that I have. Give him time to acclimate to even the new division, because he was coming over from ATMs into the other terminals, the ticket terminal things, and those work differently. And so, yeah, just the transition phase could have been handled much better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it seems like with that, the transition. So if you are going to promote someone like that, I think there has to be training involved, and it seemed like there really wasn't. So it seemed like they were used to having someone from within that division being promoted, which probably wouldn't need as much training. So I think the company wasn't ready to provide that training that he needed. So I don't think necessarily Thomas Green was a bad hire. I feel like he had ambition. He was a go-getter. He was making results. He did bring like that fresh, like perspective to things, which I think is that's why they hired him. But he needed that training to help him get that spot.
Yeah, I think that one thing I wrote in my write-up was he didn't receive any training once he got that new position.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he did receive a little bit of training, it probably could have made a big difference. But since he was basically just put in there and they're like, okay, do your thing, I feel like he also really didn't know what to do because he didn't really have any kind of training, at least is what it said in the case.
Right. So something
So
from
that
the
his
next.
first. Yeah.
Go for it.
Because it does talk about that his first month was basically just like figuring it out. He just did a ton of research on the products they were selling and on how to do everything. And so then he got burned for not doing enough because he hadn't been really like contributing at all or making any innovative changes because he didn't understand the process. There's a lot of catch up time even without the training. I mean, he still had to take this time to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm. So this is the next part. It kind of asks about the office politics and how it comes into play. Something I kind of thought throughout the case was if Davis was supposed to give him training, he purposely like didn't give him the right tools because he was kind of trying to like frame him because Davis didn't want him there in the first place.
Yeah, Green talks about how he has a suspicion that Davis is trying to build a case against him, so that when he
Right.
fires him, it seems justified.
Right.
Which we don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that's a big problem.
Yeah. So with that, one of the questions is, how does the power in office politics come into play? Do you think this is kind of like an office politic issue of people just kind of jealous that either Green got promoted, and they're just not like helping him out, or do you think office politics has a role in the performance of Green right now?
I think there's definitely probably some other coworkers that are jealous because they all knew that he got hired so quickly. So, I mean, if I was in that office, I would have definitely been jealous for sure. So I think that definitely was a contributing factor for that part, for the politics.
It also talks about how he like questioned Davis in front of everyone and challenged his goals, which is obviously just office politics. I mean, Davis was unwilling to discuss any change to the goal. He just said, "No, you're wrong. Get better. Stop talking back to me," which is very office politicky, where Davis is just trying to make a power play essentially, and Green's not having it.
Yeah. So with the situation that Green's in right now, is there a way you think he can repair this situation? I mean, he already has, seems like a write-up from Davis going to McDonald. Do you think he can repair it, or what should he do to fix or get out of the situation, would you say?
It's a hard one because I mean, the way it's described in the case, it seems like it's pretty hopeless. Green's pretty much resigned and said, "Hey, McDonald's going to fire me, and there's nothing I can do about it." I honestly didn't have any great suggestions.
I don't think he really has any way to, I don't know, have a good case against McDonald not firing him. Just especially the relationship that he had between Davis as well, and all the different arguments and the conflicts that they had together. And I think that McDonald just kind of realizes that she made a mistake. So I don't think she necessarily has to fire him. He could just get demoted to a different position. But I don't think he has a strong case for him staying in that position, though. Especially since it's also 2008.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's going down anyways. What I think with this is the only way I think that Green can save his job, I guess, is kind of throwing Davis under the bus, since Davis is like newly appointed to his new. You can kind of put that to a degree on McDonald, saying, "Hey, both of us weren't really trained in our new roles of things," and he can say that because it talks about Davis, he gets the reports he wants from the other senior reps that has the same position as Green, but that's because they've been there before. But so Davis is expecting these things, and maybe one thing I think is Green could kind of blame it on Davis, saying he didn't train me the way he wanted, kind of thing, to give him the proper tools. So one thing I think he can do is kind of lowballing it, I guess, is pushing the blame of him not executing his job to Davis, and hope that works, I guess, if he wants to keep his position. So it's kind of just like pushing it back and forth, kind of do it that way. But the relationship with Davis doesn't seem like it's really repairable at this moment necessarily. But it seems that Green has a good relationship with McDonald, and he has to use that to his advantage somehow, of them being buddy-buddy. That's one thing I think of. We'll do one last question. Let's see. And I'll do just a wrap-up real quick. So we'll do one more. It asks, how can someone be proactive in managing office politics, power, and conflict? So not necessarily this case, but how do you get over office politics then? Do you guys think there's a way to get over that?
I think the best way to get over office politics is figure out unless it's like between literally the entire office, but normally it's a few people that are kind of the instigators of the office politics. And I think the best way to get over that is sitting those people down who are the people that start it, and to just make them realize that, you know, within an office, it doesn't help to have these different types of politics to where you hate people and talk bad about other people and stuff, because everyone's working for the same goal anyway at a company. And it's just going to bring everyone's positive thinking and their ability to work, be productive. It's just going to bring all of that down. And so I think the best way to handle that is to just figure out the people that are the biggest contributors to that, and then talk to them, and either say action, or if you have to, disciplinary action as well.
Yeah, I think a major thing that I learned from this case, at least, is have very clear communication lines. One-sided view about what was going on, and it was because Davis was so invested in getting rid of Green. He had been proactive and made contact with on more frequently. It would have definitely impeded Davis's ability to attack Green, because she would have had at least a little bit more of the story rather than just the one-sided Davis reports.
Yeah. So we'll go through the conclusion of it. So it has the ending results, I guess, from it. So it says, after McDonald's February 5th, 2008 email, Green took the offensive against his boss. He crafted a series of memorandums, emails, reports, and projections that exposed inaccuracies and creative forecasting. Green to build some alliances with other marketing personnel who used the data to ultimately side with him. On April 4th, it was announced that Frank Davis was being moved laterally to an undefined special project. However, Green's tactics were seen as overly brutal by many in the company. And although he won the battle against his boss, his career was irreparably harmed. McDonald distanced herself from him. On July 2008, Green announced he was resigning from his position to pursue full-time studies for an MBA. What would have occurred if Green had tried to help Davis without the discrepancies and problems with forecasts? Perhaps both would have succeeded. So that's the synopsis of the closing of it. So I guess kind of the end, it basically says, don't question your boss in public is what I got.
Don't attack him.
Don't make yourself look stupid.
So that's the case this week. It'll just be a quick call, I think, today. But good work, everyone. Anyone else have any last comments or anything they want to share?
No, that's it. I will lead next week, and it will start at 7 o'clock.
Awesome.
Sounds good, guys. You guys have a good week.
Yeah, you guys too.